What is going on, everyone? I've not set my webcam up properly. There we go. There we go. Lovely. How is it going? It's game week 2. We're coming up to game week 2, sorry. We are finally live. Apologies, I'm a bit later than normal. Just one of those nights. Lots of stuff to do before I came on. Basically, in preparation to get drunk tomorrow. So, you know, priorities. I don't know if there's a whole lot of new stuff to talk about. Obviously, a lot of it's still stuff that's happened last week. There wasn't any injuries in the Liverpool-Chelsea game. There hasn't been any training ground injuries. I don't think there's been any major news in the press conferences that I've seen. And obviously, this stage in the season, we are still kind of working off of one game week. So there's only so much you can make off of that. But yeah, we'll still talk about everything you want to talk about. Ian, thanks very much for becoming a channel member. I really probably should do something more with that. Especially as it's still got the old logo, which I still love, by the way. Why is Atsu's shirt on the background? So Atsu's shirt, that is for basically a long-time stream members. It doesn't really make much sense if you haven't watched the streams for a while, but let's just say he was in my team for a while. And I think he got a goal and assist in like 4 or 5 game weeks, and I was loving it. It basically became a bit of a stream meme. Baines, there's a story behind that. I won't go into too much right now because it's game week 2. And we can save that for when there's maybe a little bit less to talk about in the streams. So, as always, these streams are sponsored at the moment by fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. The place to go and get all your stats and stuff for fantasy football. Really, really good members area. There's a link in the description below if you want to check that out. Just going to play their sponsorship video and then we'll get into looking at my team and talking about game week 2. So thanks as always for them for sponsoring a site I've used for like 10 years now. So highly recommend it. And like I said, if you want to check it out, the link is in the description below. Is Pulisic essential? Obviously not. Is he good? I mean, he did look good against Liverpool. Chelsea got Leicester. So I think it's a good fixture. I don't know. Like, who are you bringing him in for? Moura, probably. I've kept Lucas Moura, as you can see. Live transfer, right? I'm not gonna get Martial, I don't think. Not this week, anyway. Wolves is going to be a tough fixture. Wolves rested a lot of players tonight as well. And Lucas Moura, will he do anything against Man City? Look, there's a good chance he doesn't get anything. I kind of knew that when I brought him in. So I'm going to basically go into game week 3 with a few transfers. A couple of transfers. 2 transfers to be precise. And I'm going to work from there. If I still want Martial, I can get him in. I've got 0.5 million in the bank. Could make a defender trade as well if the Liverpool defence is looking dodgy. On that, make sure to give the stream a like if you enjoy it or enjoying it. Much appreciated. Subscribe if you're new around here and vote on the polls. Top right hand corner, click that little eye. We've got best captain for game week 2. Is Moura worth selling for game week 2? And are you worried about Liverpool defence? Because obviously they conceded again against Chelsea twice, in fact, although that was an extra time and it really shouldn't have been a penalty. But without getting into that too much, they have conceded again. They have played Chelsea and Man City in 2 of those 3 games, though. And they've lost Alisson. So maybe there is something to be worried about. But let's see when they start playing much easier teams. Obviously, did concede against Norwich, and they conceded quite a few shots in that game as well. I was checking. So yeah, maybe a slight worry, Liverpool defenders. But I'm not panicking just yet. And one of the reasons I'm not panicking is the decision maybe to downgrade them is tough. But once you do it, you get a lot of money back. So that'd be nice to spend elsewhere. The poll should be working. There's only 3 polls because I really didn't have too much time to set the stream up. I've actually got a slightly different background as well, which Marco, the legend, has made for me which makes the logo look much cooler in the wall. But I didn't have time to set it up, but it will be up for the next stream, hopefully. Would I play 2 Liverpool defenders? I mean, I am playing 2 Liverpool defenders, so absolutely. Salah played 120 minutes. Yeah, this has come up a lot. I'm not too concerned, if I'm completely honest. I just think he's going to play, basically. Sure, maybe he comes off after 70, 80 minutes, but... and it is unfortunate that he's not... they're not playing on Sunday. Which does seem crazy to me. What time are they playing on Saturday? 3 o'clock kickoff. In fact, anyone in Ireland know if that's the game on Sky? Or whatever channel shows 3 PM games now. Be interesting to know. Anyway, that's kind of besides the point. So they're playing at 3 o'clock, which is a bit harsh, especially with extra time. I just assume he's going to play, unless Klopp says something. If Klopp says something, then maybe I'd change my captain. Who do I change my captain to is interesting. I'd probably just go straight to Sterling. But Wilson will be a bit of a tempter as well. But yeah, I think... we said this quite a bit last year, I think, and maybe in pre-season. Man City are going to score... Sorry, are probably going to get close to 100 points again. So Liverpool need to win a hell of a lot of games to keep up with them. So while Salah's fit, he's played a lot of games last season. He's shown he's got the fitness. I think this early in the season, he just plays. Maybe I got it wrong, but that's who I'm probably going to captain. I'm pretty much saving the transfer now, yeah. Like, Wolves away is obviously a better fixture than Man City away, but it's still a tough-ish fixture for Man United. I think Chelsea were really poor in that game. They didn't have Kante for most of it as well. I think he came on the 73rd minute. So look, Man United won 4-0, but would they do that again against Chelsea if they played them again this weekend? Not Let's see. I don't want to... I know this stream would be really boring if I just sit here and say, let's just wait for another game week's worth of data, but it's kind of the situation we're in right now. Welcome back, Jazza. My only concern on Salah is if Liverpool are 2-3-0 up after 50 minutes, he'll get subbed. Yeah, quite possibly, and obviously there's every chance that Mane starts and he gets the points before Salah, and then Salah gets taken off. Whereas Sterling, you'd imagine, is going to play the majority of 90 minutes against Spurs. So I think Sterling's a fine captain. I mean, if you've got him right now, Aubameyang owners, if they've gone for him from the start, I think they're probably sitting quietly confident. I think definitely some goals in that for Arsenal against Burnley. Fully rested. Salah's played 120 minutes. Sterling plays Spurs. Second game of the season, I think, is a pretty decent game week to go with Aubameyang, to be honest. Why not Sterling? Because I think Salah's going to play, and if he plays the majority of minutes, like if he gets 60, 70 minutes, then I can see him getting points. When am I using my wildcard? Basically when I need it. Like last year, I think last year I used it in game week 4. I think I used it in game week 5, actually. The year before, maybe game week 12 or 6. I can't remember. In the last 3 years, I've used it in game week 12, game week 6, and game week 5, I think. So like right now, I'm looking at my team thinking it still looks okay. Obviously, it was a very good game week 1. I think looking at the fixtures of my team right now, I've got Perez against Chelsea, Moura against Spurs, Zinchenko and Sterling against Spurs. They could be low scores as well. So there's potential, and if King and Wilson blank or get low scores again, then it is going to be a bit of a harsh week. So we'll see how much I fall. But I kind of knew this week was coming anyway. So I think game weeks 3 and 4 should be better. So I basically, not to give you a very long answer to your question, I haven't nailed in a game week to use that wild card. I don't want to sit too long with too much deadwood. I think that's I used it in game week 5 last year, but I almost didn't, and I almost just carried on with my team. And in the end, I just got rid of a load of deadwood and bought in new. Wolves were looking good at that point, and that was a really big turning point. So if Perez is still no good, and Perez does have pretty poor fixtures from game week 4, I'm going to probably have used the transfer more by that point. If double level defence isn't looking good, if Zinchenko lost his place, which I don't expect to happen unless Mendy comes back, but if that happens, that's a possibility. So at that point, I might start looking at it like game week 4 or 5. You know, do I absolutely need to have Kane? Do I have enough transfers to get rid of Moura, Perez, King, Wilson, plus anything else that happens in my team? So I am already, I'm not thinking about wildcarding, but it's in the back of my head that I might need it around game weeks 4 or 5. But no panic yet. Absolutely no panic. If I come away with a score of 30 this week and all my players are injured, then yeah, maybe you'll see me panicking a bit more next week. You're really confused to pick a captain. Thanks very much, Path. You have Salah, Sterling, Martial, and Sigurdsson. Is getting Pookie for Jota the right choice? I mean, Jota's just had a pretty much all. I don't know. Someone in the chat can tell me what minute he came on, but he didn't start the game in Europe, so I think he may have come on for a little bit. So I wouldn't personally. If you've started with Jota, I don't really see too much reason to get rid of him, especially for Pookie. I know he scored against Liverpool, but let's maybe not rush on him too much. I don't think that's worth a transfer personally. Those captain choices, Martial, I know he scored, but I think that was a tough game against Wolves. Sigurdsson's got, who is it? Watford. Yeah, Watford. So Sigurdsson could be decent, but I mean Salah and Sterling, the reason they're in your team because they're consistently going to score. So I'll go for one of those two. I'm going for Salah, but obviously if you think Sigurdsson or Martial are going to do well, absolutely make that decision. Noise Freak, thanks very much. What are my thoughts on transfers, especially Bournemouth? Save a transfer this week in risk of another increase. I mean, I just think you can't. I know it feels like you have to get rid of players in game week 1 because the reason game week 1 is the worst is because in pre-season you've got all the hope that this is the year you win FPL, and then game week 1 comes along and suddenly not all your players score and it feels like you've already kind of lost it. But let's say this was game week 17 and you bought in Wilson. Let's say game week 16 finished. You use your transfer in game week, just before game week 17 to bring in Wilson. And he doesn't score. You're not going to then take him out for game week 18. So give him a bit of a chance, or King. So I think if you started with Bournemouth players, surely you give them the Villa game and then you reassess. I mean, yes, Man City looks tricky in game week 3. Then it's Leicester away, Everton at home, Southampton away, West Ham at home. So they don't have the worst fixtures after Man City. And if they do something this week, I'd be pretty tempted to keep. I don't think they're worth a transfer, personally. I don't think many players are worth a transfer this week. I even saw DFA, who played on the left, saying about playing striker again. I think that was a quote I saw on Twitter. So maybe that's going to happen. Maybe he's going to get out of that left midfield position and go more up front. Is Sterling a must? So the thing about people who don't own Kane and people that don't own Sterling, I know Sterling's already risen in price. I don't know. I haven't actually checked the price rise in the last couple of days. I'm assuming Sterling, not that they're necessarily accurate right now, but I'm assuming Sterling, yeah, he's probably not going to rise again. So you've already missed the price rise. I feel like because Spurs and Man City are playing each other, if you're a non-Kane owner or a non-Sterling owner, you can pretty much just wait another week. You know, if Sterling was playing Norwich at home this week, or Aston Villa at home, I'd probably want him in if I didn't own him. Because it's Spurs, yes, of course he can do something. I'm not saying he's 100% going to blank, but you'd imagine the amount of points he's going to get is going to be a little bit less than an easier fixture. So I think you're safe. Not safe necessarily, but you're okay not going for them this week, in my opinion. Pulisic for more. I mean, you're getting Pulisic based on the Super Cup game. Like, at least let him have a game in the Premier League and then see. That's what I think. If you think that he's going to come into the Chelsea side in the Premier League and do really well, and you think Moore is going to blank against Man City, then you could go for it. Sterling non-owner here, it's not that fun. Yeah, and I mean, hat-trick is not the nicest way to start. What's my biggest concern? That's a good question. I don't really have any major concerns with my team, to be completely honest. The players that I'm already thinking about, like Mora is more annoying and frustrating than a massive problem, and it's frustrating because I did take him out and then I put him back in, so that's annoying. But I'm not too bothered about it. I mean, if they go to a kind of 4-2-3-1 for the Newcastle game, then chances are he'll play wide anyway, and he will play that game. So I might even be able to keep him. You know, if Martial blanks against Wolves, suddenly he's not must-have. Things change pretty quickly. Perez is a little bit of a concern, but I mean, again, he's got 2 good fixtures after Chelsea. I'm gonna give him a bit more time. And as much as Chelsea were better against Liverpool, did concede twice, albeit 1 in extra time, and they conceded 4 against Man United. So 6 goals in 2 games. Let's see how they do against Leicester. So I don't really have too many concerns, if I'm completely honest, yet. That could all change after game week 2. Add moderator, business cat. By the way, I don't think they're watching. I've not seen them in the chat. I know a couple of people have reached out to me about becoming mods. I'm pretty happy to do that. I haven't replied, basically. Not going to start making everyone a mod, but obviously the more people that want to help out. We don't usually need it, but obviously in the last stream we did a bit. Why don't I put Dendoncker in for Perez? Nah, See, the way I set my team up, there was a really good thread about it. I think it was by Ronaldinho. Neil Murray. And he basically said what I do, but I have just never kind of articulated it like that. And I hadn't really thought of it like that. But I like taking some of the decisions out of my hands. So basically I just like limiting the amount of decisions I have to make every week. And obviously that doesn't always work out. But I basically set my bench up so that is my bench for the whole season. And I'm not looking to necessarily play... Like Lundstrom, I could play. Again, ahead of Perez and Moura, who are both attackers. I'm just not going to want to make that decision of which one of those two to bench. I mean, I guess it would be Lucas Moura, but then I'd be really frustrated if he scored. So I keep my bench players on the bench. I don't, maybe later on in the season when I got more money, and I can have a stronger bench, then I might pick and choose. Like I did that with Deulofeu and Jota end of last season. It actually didn't work out too well either. So I will keep Dendoncker on the bench because that is basically what he's in for, as bench fodder. If he does well against Man United and I miss the points, so be it. More often than not, he's probably not going to get much. Howard, one of the men that got in touch, and I'm a horrible person, so I haven't replied yet. I apologise. If anyone can find where I can buy more time from, I'm super interested. Oh, it's Liverpool on Premier Sports on TV. Danny, you're a legend. Thanks very much. Awesome. So that means I've got a bit of an all-dayer planned for Saturday, so we get to watch the Arsenal game, Liverpool game, and Man City Spurs. Really nice. Saw a thread on Twitter about waiting to wildcard before Liverpool double game week. I'm not even sure when that double game week is, to be completely honest. Time is infinite, you don't need to buy it, it never runs out. It doesn't feel like that. Maitland-Niles in for Aki. I mean, he could be a good pick while Bellerin's out, and it is a good fixture this week, but then he plays Liverpool and Spurs, I think it is, so I wouldn't be rushing, I don't think. Aguero or Jesus, who starts? That I really can't call that, to be honest. There's half of me that thinks, or there's a part of me that thinks, could they go Sterling up front and play Bernardo Silva and Mahrez either side? Because it's Spurs, maybe. I assume eventually Aguero will go back to his number 1 spot, but Jesus has done alright in the very limited amount of time he's had. So it's hard to say, really. I mean, last year I would have just said Aguero every time, but you just don't know, do you? And there hasn't really been anything from him to say otherwise either. There never is. I mean, Pep is very hard to guess. Why are we not jumping on an 8.5 million Man United striker guaranteed start? So interestingly, the 8.5 million striker is kind of playing on the left, and the midfielder is playing up front. So I think a lot of people maybe don't have money in the bank to upgrade. I mean, I could have done it before the price rise, but again, it's Wolves away. That is a trickier fixture. He's not. One of his goals was a penalty. He's not necessarily on every penalty. I think Rashford, a bit like some of the Chelsea boys. I mean, probably said he was going to be value at some point. Didn't realise it was going to be so quick. Yeah, they did interchange a bit. Yeah, I just think with only one game to go on, I think I just prefer getting Martial for $1 million less. You're a first-class philosophy graduate, and trust me, time never runs out. So if someone tries to sell you it, don't buy it. Well, it turns out cheap it is, you know. If you have 3 Bournemouth players, what do you do? I say you keep them and hope they smash Aston Villa. Do any Chelsea players tempt me? Not right now. Like up front, Abraham didn't start against Liverpool. Could just be in, young player, keeping him fit for the next game. Let's see who starts basically against Leicester. I think Barkley looks a bit concerning because he played on the left, and then last night Mount came on. I think he played number 10. So Mount interests me. Barkley not so much now. So let's see how those two start. So I am interested in Chelsea players, but I think Emerson as well, very attacking. As Fizzy says, Emerson. So yes, players interest me there. Not rushing to get them in though. Long term, Martial is the smarter option, and you know it. So why not change? I'm just going to give him another week. I'm going to have 2 free transfers. My gut tells me that he won't absolutely smash Martial this week. So let's see what I need in Game Week 3. I mean, Game Week 3, if Martial's still the one to get, I'll swap Lucas Moura for him. I might not even have to make another transfer, to be honest. I might just roll a transfer in Game Week 3. Or I might get rid of Robertson for Wan-Bissaka. Who knows? Probably not that one. When does the price change and how does it work? So it seems to be changing at 6:30 AM UK time. And basically, after X amount of players transferring after X amount of managers transferring a certain player, they go up in price. If they sell a certain player, they go down in price. Might not be as simple as it looks with Aubameyang versus Burnley. I know, but I mean, I've got Pope, so I am hoping for a clean sheet. But on paper, I think it looks alright. That's one of those decisions where I would try not to overthink it too much. I know Burnley can be good in defence, but at home, Arsenal, Aubameyang, I feel like this is a good enough captain. Would I do it ahead of Salah or Sterling? I don't know if I still would. Yeah, FPL statistics to check whether a player is going to go up or down. Is that a definite change this year rather than 3am? So I don't know. Only really basing it on what we've seen so far, really. I mean, they don't ever tell us anything, so it's hard to say. That's also a good point. Arsenal team wasn't full strength last week. So, if they have Lacazette, Pepe, I don't know, someone that likes football, although would like to see Arsenal lose, I am quite excited to see Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Pepe, in action. You should make a graphic for the short list of players you are scouting. Yeah, like a watch list. I've seen a few watch list videos. I would love to do more videos. I'm really struggling to do the videos I have and create new graphics for the stream and stuff, to be completely honest. Luckily, Marco makes a lot of stuff for the stream, which is super handy. The background, he's done a new background for me, and he's got me a new background for my previews and stuff, the shorter videos. So he is a bit of a legend. You're going to captain Pookie against Newcastle. Do you know what? I really hope that works out. I like that. I'll never really do that kind of captain these days, which is a bit of a shame, I know, but I'd love it if that works out for you. Make sure to give the video a like, stream a like even if you're enjoying it, and obviously subscribe. We are pushing for 50,000 subs, which is insane. Yeah, which is just insane. So we're on 46,395. So if you are new, make sure to subscribe. 50k subs will be crazy. Quality prints on Twitter. I'm happy to help. Yeah, Tom, send me a DM, and because I'm never going to remember that message in the chat. But send me a DM. Just if I don't get back to you this weekend, don't panic, because I'm going to be drinking most of the weekend. Road to 1 million subs. Yeah, I'm not sure that's... I mean, I didn't think I was going to ever get 10,000. I didn't think I was going to get to 25. And when we hit 25, I remember seeing people with 50s next. I was like, yeah, that's not happening. Any 50k sub celebrations plan? Have you ever seen my other sub celebrations? It basically involves me sat here with a party popper. So maybe I'll get 3 party poppers this time. Is anyone as frustrated as me for not using the triple captain in game week 1? It seems to be potluck when only the usual suspects will smash it. Yeah, so triple captain, I'm going to save it for a double game week. I'm just saying now, or for a very good single game week later on in the year. I am still of the opinion, or still of the thinking, that I will possibly use it in a single game week. I've not written that off. I kind of written that off in previous years, but based on what happened last year, I'm not completely saying no to a single game week. I just didn't want to do it in game week 1. But yeah, it did work out. I'm not frustrated about it though. I think, I tell you what's actually interesting. When Salah got a goal and assist against Norwich, I thought, okay, triple captain, that's really good. But you know what? Man City have got to play Norwich at home yet. They could do just as much damage as Salah, like Sterling. So I went and checked when Man City play Norwich at home, because they do play them away soon-ish. They play them away in game week 5, but they play them at home in game week 38. So, if the league's... It could be a low-scoring game, but we saw what they did this year when the league was... still up for grabs. Didn't they score 4 in the last day of the season or something? So, I mean, that could be pretty interesting. Not that we need to be talking about game week 38 yet, but I did look at that. Let's see what happens with the double game weeks, I mean, if I look at Sterling now, when will the double game weeks be? Maybe game week 33, 35, 37, Brighton away. Don't know who we would get, though. But anyway... Basically, I'm not that frustrated about triple captain, and I'm sorry for even mentioning game week 38 when we're not even into game week 2 yet. Don't hold it against me. Is Mahrez a good option? I mean, for 8.5 million, if he keeps playing, he'll be a bargain. But let's see who starts for Man City this week, because he could easily get dropped, and Bernardo Silva could play instead. So I'll be a bit worried about bringing him straight in, but... I don't know, let's say if Bernardo Silva picked up a knock and Mahrez was continually playing, then yeah, 8.5 million would be a great purchase. Lundstrom or Kelly? Who do Palace have? Oh, they're obviously playing each other. I would go for the home guy. I think I'd play Lundstrom. If you've got Pope and Heaton, then yeah, I would probably play Heaton this week. I wouldn't make that. I wouldn't make that transfer if that's what you're asking. Don't think it's worth a transfer. I mean, really, we should have been able to see Pope's fixtures before picking him. So hopefully, aware that he's going to play Arsenal, Wolves, and Liverpool. Really good fixtures after that. I did actually. I found goalkeeper really difficult to pick at the start because I do think Pope would be good long term, but it's just not knowing if I was going to 100% play the early wildcard. Because if I knew I was going to play it in Game Week 4 or 5, then I probably would have gone Ryan. But we'll see. I mean, actually, now I think about it in hindsight, if I've picked Pope for potential long term, but he's got some bad fixtures to start, it may have been better to have gone Ryan, who's got good fixtures to start. And then if I don't wildcard, okay, he has some bad fixtures, but Pope had them anyway. And if I do wildcard, I could have switched goalkeepers. So, yeah, I wish I thought about that before Game Week 1. Who should you replace Barkley with? Mount. Balbuena is a defender. Iwobi hasn't started yet. Trossard hasn't started yet. McGinn looks okay. But I would probably give Barkley one more week and just see. But it doesn't look good for him, I'll be honest. Yeah, is it possible to check out your FPL team? Thanks very much for that, Michael. I don't tend to do... I don't tend to rate my teams anymore on stream because there's just so many people that would want it. But feel free to write your team in chat and we can maybe have a quick talk about it. When am I available to pod? I already said to you, didn't I? Always international breaks, my man. Always. There's no way I can do another night during a normal week, that's for sure. Well, not very often, anyway. Coleman nearly scored. Is it worth saving 0.5 million for Lucas Dean? I don't think it's worth the swap, no. It's just, you know, transfers are precious. You wanna keep them as much as you can. Obviously, if there's a transfer you really want to make, or you think a player is really going to do well, and you want to use it, obviously go for it. But Lucas Dean to Coleman is a bit sideways. Especially, yes, Coleman could have scored, but Lucas Dean could have also had an assist. So I wouldn't be doing that just yet. FPL is not my full-time job. That would be the dream. The dream. Bernardo at Everton. I don't think Bernardo's a good pick because when everyone is fit, it could quite easily be Keane up front, Richarlison on the right, I think, Sigurdsson number 10, and then Iwobi on the left. So, yeah, I'm not sure about Bernard. Don't know if he keeps his place long term. Maybe Everton fans can let us know in the chat what they think. Will your wildcard be set up to profit on a bench boost? Not the first one, no. Probably the second one. Am I considering Kane for Game Week 3? If yes, who would you downgrade to raise fund? So I could get Kane in for Wilson by downgrading Mora to a 5 million midfielder. That would probably be my preferred way, just simply through not having to make too many transfers. Realistically, with the way my team is currently set up, I don't get Kane. What I would do on a wild card is probably have a similar setup, but maybe drop one of the Liverpool defenders to get a bit more money, so that I don't have to get a 5 million midfielder. Although I did do that one year with Atsu. You know, people were asking about Atsu in the start of the stream. He was basically in as an enabler, and I heard Holly on Scoutcast saying, you know, they just need a return like every 3 weeks. That's true. Like when they're 5 million, they don't need to be getting returns every single week. If they can get an assist or a goal every kind of 3, maybe even 4 weeks, and pick up 2 or 3 points in the other weeks, that's probably okay for just 5 million. So I'm not completely against it, but I'm still not rushing to get Kane, to be honest. Am I more likely to downgrade Wilson to a 6.5 and then Fraser? Yeah, basically, not Fraser obviously, but Moura, yeah, I could do that. Wilson to 6.5 and then Lucas Moura straight to Son. But I've also got my eye on Martial, obviously, so he would be tricky to get as well as Son. But Son, I mean, his ownership must be super low. And a lot of people won't thought of how to bring him in, and I expect a lot of people have just forgotten about him, especially with Kane doing so well. But Son's ownership is 1%. I mean, that is so enticing. He is so good. like as good as Kane will probably be this season, I don't think many people would strongly disagree that there's every chance that Son could match him. So for 1.5 million less, 1% ownership, it's not going to be often that you get Son for 1% ownership, especially if he smashes it against Newcastle. It will rise so quick. That's obviously the only problem. Will Son hit the ground running? Will he even start Game Week 3 straight away? Will he come on as a sub, get bedded in slowly? I don't know. But I don't know. If Man United suddenly look a bit worse against Wolves, and suddenly, okay, Martial would be a good pick, but not one I have to rush, I'll be pretty tempted to downgrade Wilson and get Son. We'll see though. Must be hard not to make a transfer when you know that player will rise in price. Two things I'll say about that, because you're absolutely right. It is difficult to not make a transfer when you know that player is going to rise in price. Sometimes once the price rise has happened, like because I've got 0.5 million in the bank, right, so I could still do Lucas Moura to Martial. But once the price rise has happened, it's almost like a breath of fresh air. It's like you just get relaxed. It's like, okay, they've risen in price. It's done now. I'll just wait. And I do think, you just have a clearer head when that happens. Same with not making range transfers. Like, I was pretty annoyed. Not annoyed. Maybe a bit frustrated. Like, obviously super happy Man United won. But in the back of my mind, I was still thinking, you had Martial. You knew that Lucas Moura was just a 1 week punt. You knew that was a transfer waiting to happen. Why didn't you just do it? But now I've got to the end of the week, not done it. I'm like, yeah, okay, it wasn't actually that important. Yes, okay, you would have scored a couple more points. Yes, I would have saved the transfer. Yes, I would have got a bit of a price rise. But it's just one move, like one decision. So I'm not that worried now. I can't remember what the original question was. Oh, price rises, I get annoyed. Yeah, I tend to not let price rises make my decisions, to be honest. We'll do the polls in... I mean, the stream's been up for 48 minutes, but haven't been live for that whole time. 10 minutes I was like doing other stuff. We'll do it in like 6 minutes. So if you haven't already voted, top right hand corner, click the little eye, vote on the 3 polls, and then we'll go through them. While you're doing that, make sure to give the stream a like, much appreciated, and subscribe if you're new around here. And while you're going to vote, I'm going to do a quick shout out to the Patreon supporters, the producers that are signed up: Scott B, Scott S, Soren M, Amir P, Dean P, Dylan M, Gaz H, Madchek, Matthew H, and Christopher M. Thanks very much for all the extra support you guys give, and everyone that's signed up to Patreon. If you want to check it out, link is in the description below. There's mini leagues every month. There's a chance to win a Brick Ballers t-shirt and a Slack channel as well. So if you want to check that out, link is in the description below. So check that out. Check Fantasy Football Scout out. Like the video, subscribe. Yada, yada, yada. Trossard opinion. My opinion is keep him for this week and hope he starts, and then let's see how good he is. Because he didn't get a chance to start. It was kind of said that it was an away game, hasn't played in the league yet. I think he'll get a game at home. Morpay, definitely looking at him as well. I mean, he could quite easily be my downgrade for Wilson. Any differentials I have? Son, the differential. I don't tend to worry about ownership too much. Like, I do talk about differentials. I know people like it and people are interested in differentials and whatnot. So I will make videos and stuff on them, especially like around wildcards and things like that. But I won't purposely go looking for a differential necessarily. So yes, there's a few, like Martial I'm looking at bringing in, Son I'm looking at bringing in. But yeah, not massively, got specific differentials in mind. Should you keep Perez? I don't know. Do you think you absolutely need to get rid of him? That's what I'd be thinking of. Yeah, let's cut the self promotion in the chat. Do you think Greenwood has a chance to start in the coming game? No, to be honest, I just don't see it. And he's going to get a few more substitution appearances first, like slowly bed him in. Even then, I just don't see how he starts that regularly this season, but you never know. Do I think the Wolves front line will score against United? I think there's a good chance, yeah. I mean, you're right, we did concede a lot of chances. They hit the bar a few... was it bar and post or bar twice? I can't remember now. They hit the woodwork twice. So yeah, I think Jota, Jimenez, definitely a chance. Especially how much we kind of struggled last year against them. Different season, of course. But, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Man United concede. Hopefully we'll get the win, though, of course. This is the team I'm going in Game Week 2 with, yeah. Yeah, follow Adam on Twitter. What is your Twitter? Is it FPL Vinny? Something like that. I can't remember exactly what you named it now. Yeah, that's a good point. Mane for Salah. We haven't really talked about that. A lot of people, obviously, Mane scores 2 goals and suddenly he looks very good for 1 million less. I didn't tweet it in the end, but I was actually thinking, never say never. I will never sit here and say I'm 100% not bringing in a certain player. Excuse me. I just realised, by the way, that's the wrong rank. Because livefpl.net was quite off. I'm actually 343k. Anyway, sidetracked. What was I talking about? Mane and Salah. Yeah, so I actually think there's a chance. Maybe later on in the season when I got a lot of money. I just don't see why. I don't see me ever owning Mane this season because Salah's only 1 million more. And I've got Salah in my team. And if I wildcard early enough, I will have Salah in my team for that too. So I just think, am I ever going to make that decision to use a transfer to take Salah out to get Mane in? I just don't see me doing it. Last 2 seasons, Salah's outscored him. Yeah, okay, if Salah gets injured, then it's different conversation for sure. But it's just one of those sideways moves I just probably would never make, even if it hurts me, because it'll always feel like it's not the right game week to do it. I know it's 1 million, but I just know I won't do it. I just won't. I'm being honest with myself. What if Salah goes on a dry spell? I mean, you could be right, and we'll have to look at things like underlying stats and see if it's, has Salah just missed a few opportunities but actually is still getting good chances, or is he just actually playing a bit poorer than previously? But again, let's say for 4 weeks, Salah scores 1 goal, Mane scores 3. Well, suddenly, yeah, you're thinking... At that point, you're then thinking, well, I wish I'd had Mane's points instead of Salah's, of course. Like any normal person would. But in my head, I know what I'll be thinking. I'll be thinking, but will that happen again for the next 4 games? Or will Salah score 3 and Mane only scores 1? So unless the underlying stats are looking awful for Salah, I just don't think it's going to happen. And the fact it's just 1 million... I appreciate 1 million can go a long way, especially this early in the season when we don't have a lot of money to go around. But I just don't see me doing it, if I'm completely honest. I'm not saying it's a bad shout. I'm not saying that Mane can't keep up with Salah a little bit. Last year, I had Mane for a little bit and not Salah, but it was different. It was like 3 million or whatever difference in price. It's completely different circumstances. What was that I just saw them? Basing transfers on random streaks of goals is bad, yeah. And like someone said, Salah's underlying stats are generally better than Mane. Maybe not at home though. I think Mane did pretty well at home last year. Do I trust Liverpool's defence? I mean, it's slightly concerning maybe, but let's give them a chance against Southampton away and see what happens. Nice call, Howard. I don't think I saw what he said. Why not have both Salah and Mane and Van Dijk? But that's a lot of money, right? So if I have Salah and Mane, then right now in my team structure, I've got to get rid of Sterling, and that's just a no-go for me. Did I check Guardiola's press conference after game one? He said something about players not playing because of many reasons, problems at home. You think he was hinting at Bernardo? I mean, it could be. I mean, we don't really know, do we, I guess? Unless he said something to strongly kind of imply that it was Bernardo, which would be interesting. Which 6 million strikers are on my watches? I think Jota still has not really done anything to make me think he won't be really good value this year. So I'm definitely interested in him. And this Morpay guy at Brighton, I mean, I don't know a lot about him, but there's been some good stuff written about him. And Brighton have got some pretty nice fixtures, and he's only 6 million. So I'm interested in him, but I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. I mean, he's come on and scored 1 goal. We don't know much more than that at this point. But those are probably the 2 front runners. I'm trying to... Pookie as well, actually. Again, it's just 1 week, so it's hard to get like fully behind them. But I mean, in terms of a watch list, actually there's quite a few. Now I remind myself of who's 6.5 or less. So Pookie, Morpay, and Jota for sure. Catch you later, Adam. But Barnes as well. I mean, 2 goals already. So we'll see. But I think my favourites are probably... I was impressed with Norwich going forward and Pookie. But Jota, I think he's just going to do well. I think Wolves are going to do well again this season. And obviously Morpay is a bit cheaper, which is nice. Van Dijk and Salah, 120 minutes. Will that influence Saturday? I think they both play. Will they be too tired to win? Keep a clean sheet, score? We'll see. Alright. It might be poll time. Polls time. Yeah, I'll refresh now. I've only got 3 to go through. I'm sorry. Next time we'll try and get 5. How much do I think FPL would price Mbappe if he went to City? Maybe 12? I don't think they'd go... I don't know. 12? Maybe not even 12, to be honest. 11, 11 and a half. Something like that. We're doing the polls now, people. Chill, chill, chill. Best game week 2 captain. 50% still saying Salah. So still a lot of love for Salah, even though he played all them minutes. Aubameyang is next on 32%. So a lot of people are liking him at home to Burnley. I know Adam was saying, you know, don't get too hyped up about it. Pope and Burnley should be good in defence, but Aubameyang massively up there. Not quite as high as Salah, but high enough. Sterling 12%. So a little bit of love. Obviously not too much. It is Spurs after all. 4% on someone else and only 1% on Kane. So not much Kane love for captaincy, which is another reason I'm not too concerned about not owning him this week. Is Lucas Moura worth selling in game week 2? 62% of you say yes. Get rid of the man. He's awful. Only 1 assist. 38% saying no. Keep him. You made your decision. Stick with it. You made your bed. Get lying in it. Not get a lion in it. That could be awkward. Take up all that space. Probably claw you in your sleep. Are you worried about Liverpool defence? Only 55% saying no. 45% are worried. That's quite high. Obviously, I only got 1 game. But I can see where people are coming from. I actually thought about it. I know they conceded 2 in the end, but I think, it was 1 in normal time. There was a season I remember... I remember it as in I remember there was a season. I don't remember which season it was, but there was a season when Spurs, so it was a little while ago, Spurs, I think, had the best defensive record in the league in terms of goals conceded. But they kept conceding one goal. So they would win 2 or 3-1 or whatever, but from an FPL point of view, they kept conceding that. And I just wonder if Liverpool might do that. They're going to keep the goals down. Like, I don't expect them to start shipping 2 or 3 goals a game. If they keep shipping that odd goal, that is just as frustrating. So obviously you lose the clean sheet straight away. Yes, I know they've got attacking potential, but at the end of the day, defender has to keep clean sheets first and foremost. The attacking returns on top are a bonus. You know, Robertson, I know obviously this is a very exaggerated example, but Robertson keeps no clean sheets but gets like 10 assists. It's not good enough. Liverpool's midfield presses off at the moment, conceded 6 big chances last night. Yeah, maybe they will get their fitness up and maybe that will help. I'm not overly concerned. Like, I've made my choices. I don't think having Robertson and Van Dijk start is that awful. I am a bit worried that they might concede against Southampton though, and Perez and Moura have got bad fixtures. Pope's got Arsenal, Sterling's playing Spurs. That it could be a low scoring week for me. Which is another reason to not go too nuts on your transfers, because if you had a poor week, every chance you got the players to have a good week this week. I mean, Moura could do something this weekend. They're probably going to play more counter-attacking football against Man City. Maybe that'll help him. Will I do another drunk stream? Who knows? Maybe one day. Not this weekend, though. You said you wouldn't play Lundstrom over Amir. Would you play him instead of Zuma? I feel like he has got a better chance at a clean sheet, but I don't know. There's so many Sheffield United fans that seem to think he's still not safe, even though he played all those minutes pre-season and had a pretty good game in game week 1. I just think the fact that Zuma's at home, I'd probably play him. I can definitely see I can see a good argument for playing Lundstrom instead, especially how Chelsea have been conceding goals and they are playing Leicester. How come I don't do the Friday night streams? It took up my Friday night instead of, it's going to take up some time either night, but kind of prefer taking up an hour on Thursday night than on my Friday night. Friday's like start of the weekend, etc. And if something's going to happen during the week that I need to do, it's probably more likely to be on a Friday and Thursday. And plus, from a kind of content and people watching the content point of view, it makes more sense to do it on a Thursday, so people have Friday and Saturday morning to watch, instead of just doing it on a Friday where you've either got to tune in then or you've got to tune in by the morning. So that's another reason. Obviously, the good thing about the Friday streams was all the press conferences were done. But it is what it is. I don't want to take my Friday nights up as well as... I'm already doing quite a bit, you know what I mean? Yeah, Scott, that's pretty much what I'm thinking. Taking more out and then doing well against Man City would just be a kick in the teeth. Pedro has looked pretty good. The only thing about Pedro I don't know is will he 100% keep his place in the team like when Willian's fit? So if Pulisic and Willian are both fit, is there a chance that Pedro misses out then? That's my only worry about him. But he's a player that kind of steadily ticks over when he's getting minutes. And he has played well in the first 2 games. I just don't know if he keeps his place long term. I do think we could see a bit of rotation with Lampard over the first few weeks as he kind of, basically gets a feel for what his best 11 is. Thoughts on Lanzini? Can he be a differential? I mean, West Ham fixtures are good, and Lanzini has performed well before, so I like him as an option. I don't know. Again, another one of those players. I don't know if there's a rush to go out and buy him though. Maybe give him another game and see. Willian offers no goal threat at all. I mean, I don't know if he offers no goal threat. But he doesn't just have to score. Creativity and stuff as well. I just don't think Pedro starts week in, week out, personally. Maybe I've got it wrong. How many subs are joined? Do you mean like subscribers? Will Aubameyang score against Burnley? I mean, it's probably got a good chance, right? Yeah, Barkley on the wing is not good. Let's hope that doesn't continue. And the thing is, if you know, 2 of Pulisic, Willian and Pedro do get those wing roles, which you'd imagine is 100% going to happen, then Barkley and Mount are both fighting for that number 10 spot. And will Mount play week in, week out, and Barkley just constantly get benched? I'm not sure that's going to happen either. So, as much as I think there's value at Chelsea, there's still a lot of stuff to work out, basically. Do you go for Aubameyang or Bournemouth's attacking line? I would go for whichever one is in your team right now, not use a transfer personally. Right, people, I'm going to leave the stream there. It's 10:30. Seems like a good time to end it. Tiny bit shorter than normal. Hopefully you'll forgive me. Apologies again for the late start. I'll try and make 9 o'clock more often than not. It's just life gets in the way sometimes, and that's absolutely fine. If you haven't already, make sure to give the video a like. Make sure to subscribe if you're new around here. Leave a comment below if you're not watching live. Go and check out Patreon if you want to check that out. And definitely check out Fantasy Football Scout as well. Loads of great content on there. Really, really, really good members area for stats, comparison tables and things like that. So a good purchase for the whole season. Highly recommend it. Otherwise, I will leave it there. Enjoy Game Week 2. There won't be any deadline streams or anything from me this weekend for sure. I will be back